Good evening and welcome to the Chanel Show. Tonight, we've got LTA Board Chairman James Sawane with us to talk a little bit about the authority and road safety. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sawane.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, the week after the COVID restrictions were lifted, we had a lot of speeding incidents. We had drunk driving, we had 2 serious accidents. Can you tell us a little bit about the authority's point of view when it comes to speeding and breaking of road rules?
Thank you, Arno. Well, naturally, I'd say very disappointed, particularly given the escalation of the numbers. We had, as an authority, done a lot of mitigation work in terms of our messaging, particularly on the social media platforms that we have. It started way back to when the expected domestic borders were going to be opening up. So we started working on our PR messaging to remind motorists that, I know you have been contained within your own borders and you're about to venture out, but please do remember and practice the safe driving principles that you were taught in driving school and applied it at all times. So we ramped it up leading up to the previous Fiji Day weekend. And as much as we'd like to say that our messaging was heard, maybe it was heard, but I think the people of Fiji need to apply those safety messages. To see those number of bookings and the unfortunate fatalities, it is what we have to consider as a country is the social cost. Social cost of one accident. It affects a lot of people, particularly for when there's a fatality or when there's a serious accident that immobilizes someone for the rest of his or her life. Those are the social costs. Sometimes it seems unfair that a driver would cause, due to his or her recklessness, they may maim or even kill a person, an innocent person for that matter. And we often read in the news that the driver got away with a $200 fine, but he or she walks away, but there's a grieving family for life. So I think that message needs to be, we need to remind the people of Fiji that you're wrong, the decision you make, and that leads to a consequence, unfortunately in an accident, has lifelong implications.
A lot of people, Chair, they seem to criticize LTA quite a bit. They say LTA is, some comments LTA are useless. They like to stand around and book people because they've got nothing to do. Considering that 452 people have been booked speeding, there have been lives lost, there's been drunk driving. What do you have to say to these critics who come up with these things?
Thank you. I'm always a believer that, from a customer service perspective, which is what LTA is about, let me just start by saying that we operate on 4 pillars, and that is the licensing of drivers and of vehicles. And when I say drivers, we're looking at 9 classes of drivers. So I urge motorists, take your driver's license, have a look at the back. You'll see there's 9 different categories. And those are the categories that we at LTA and our hardworking team, we ensure that they are licensed and that they are qualified to operate that type of machinery. So that's one. And on that licensing, I'd like to remind all Fijians that we have over 299,106. That's 299,106 licensed motorists in Fiji. Of that, we have about 30,000 who are in the learners category of all the 9 categories, and we have about 21,000 in the provisional license. So when you look at our staffing of 419, that's 419 nationwide, the ratio is about one of our staff and management to 714 customers. So from our perspective, we're not doing too bad from the level of feedback we're getting from our customers. In saying that, Arnold, we never rest on our laurels. We always look for ways to improve, and that's some of the things that we are working towards. We always encourage feedback from our customers. We are as good as our customers think of us. And again, when I put into perspective, 299,000, that's a lot of customers at different categories. And with that, our team is managing 131,429 different type of vehicles. That's the registered vehicles on our roads. That's 131,000. That's a lot of moving machinery.
That's a very large.
So, for our team of 419, I can't say enough about our team. They do their best. Yes, we have our faults and weaknesses, but it doesn't mean that we let it go. So we're always continuously trying to improve. We know there's a lot of room for improvement, and we can cover that later on.
Yeah. So it's Friday night. I've had about 5 bottles of beer, not that I drink, just as an example, and I'm about to pick the keys up. I'm about to drive home. What's your message to me? Because there are people like that who think, there's a lot of people who think, look, I can drive when I'm drunk. I'm not like those guys who get into an accident. When I'm drunk, I can drive. What is your message to those people?
I believe the main message to all motorists is you have to make the right decision. Is that your decision at that point in time, and you cannot always blame the effects of whether it's alcohol or yangona. It's at that point in time you have to make the right decision. And again, if I go back to my earlier comments, is that your decision can impact on a family, on a person's life forever. You will walk away, but I tell you what, that guilt conscience will be with you for the rest of your life. And for me, I keep going back to make the right choice, the right decision. Is it really worth it? Is it better that I park my vehicle and spend, whether it's $10 or $5 taxi ride back the next morning and pick it up?
And save a life.
Save your life and save others' life and save and minimize on that social cost.
Don't be a killer on the roads. In the next segment, we look at customer service. Welcome back. Now, the Land Transport Authority deals with thousands of customers every single day. There are 300,000 licensed drivers on the road with 131,000 cars. So, Chair, tell us, how has COVID changed the way LTA operates?
Thank you, Anu. Well, like every business in Fiji, during the lockdown period, our team could not come to the office, obviously. But in saying that, motorists were on the road, so they had to be on the road for work purpose and other social reasons. So our team, again, I acknowledge our team who worked very hard. We had to limit the number of our team in the offices that could come and do essential service, and most of them work from home. And when I say work from home, I think we all know that when you are at home, there's others at home. So it is the challenge of fulfilling your work whilst being in a home environment. And particularly, it was all new for us all, trying to adjust to that arrangement. But we managed to pull through, thankfully. And one of the key messaging from our management and from the board is that to encourage our team to get vaccinated so that we can get back onto our work. And I'm pleased to advise that as of now, I think we're close to 100% vaccination.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's thanks to our team. Most of them are, I think we're fully manned back in the office now. And that has come as a result of teamwork, good leadership. We've got a good set of managers. And, we are fortunate as a new board to come on. And we've got an amazing board of directors that have been appointed, and I'm very honored to serve with them. And we come from a very diverse background, offering our services to the authority. But then it goes back, you can have a board, but if you don't have a team, which we do have a wonderful team, you'll have challenges. So having a wonderful team with good leadership has enabled us to come through the challenges that I've mentioned.
Absolutely. And what can Fijians look forward to when going to the LTA? What are some new strategies that this new board is implementing?
One of the key strategies that as a board we would really like to work on and as I said, always improve on is our outreach to our customers. And our customers, as I mentioned, we have different levels of stakeholders, from the private motorists to industry stakeholders. And in the industry space, there's all different categories of whether it be tourism, whether it be the bus operators or taxi operators. I think, I believe our strategy is to reach out to them more regularly, hear them out and understand them. What are their issues? What are the issues, maybe not so much we can't say post-COVID, but what are the issues that they'll have to tweak their business to be able to survive as we live with COVID? And I think that's the fundamental in terms of our outreach to our customers. In saying that, to our general motorists, we always welcome feedback. We have an award-winning customer service response team that works on almost on a 24/7 basis, that receive calls and make sure it's channeled through the right door, so to speak, and they get addressed. So that's one, is the outreach to our customers. The next phase, which for us as a board and as LTA, is in terms of automation. We have been given the mandate by government to work towards automating a lot of our processes, whether it be through applications, through payment of infringement notices, or the world is getting working through digital space. We need to move with that. Just minimizing the need to have to come to the office and respecting people's time. I know it's an issue about queuing in offices, but in the meantime, we are addressing that. We keep a close track in terms of our waiting times in our respective offices. I am very proud that throughout our 21 offices, the waiting time, yes, we do get some times where people are waiting for about 15, 20 minutes. Then when I look at the statistics for serving time, we range from 5, 7, 10 minutes, but again, depending, and I really hope our viewers will understand that we have a different category of customers, as I mentioned, from private motorists to the trade motorists. And someone may be at the desk registering their fleet of maybe 10 or 20 vehicles. So we realize that we need to separate and maybe come up with a concept, like you have in supermarkets, express lane. That is one of the areas. Again, if someone comes to pay for an infringement notice, I think we've developed M-Pesa options and other options where they don't have to come to the office.
That's actually brilliant, Chair.
Express lane. Thank you. And I think we've had a few stakeholders, I think, including some of your feedback from you and the team, in terms of creating that fast track lane. And we listen. As I said before, we are only as good as the feedback from our customers, and we take that on board and apply it. It's not a regulatory change; it's an operational change that we can do in the meantime.
Okay. Chair, just moving on to a slightly different topic. Now, LTA was one of the first to sign up with FICAC on the anti-corruption program that they're doing. I'll be honest with you, a lot of people around Fiji, they have this perception that LTA is in fact corrupt, whether it's true or to what extent it's true. What are some of your plans in order to combat this? First, this perception, and then, of course, corruption, which we understand can creep up anywhere. What are some of your plans to, deter people or change this?
Thank you, Arno. Well, I think, perception can be reality, or what people think. That is, they're entitled to the opinion. But at the end of the day, we can only make allegations and accusations. But in principle, and I say this in my own company, I say to my group of drivers in particular, that your integrity is everything that you have. And that's the message we'll be sharing with our team as we move into our tenure during our time on the board, is reminding them of their integrity. Your integrity is not worth $20. It is not worth $200, because the moment you cross that line, you cannot come back. You've sold yourself for whatever momentary gain, whether it's financial or through favors. Again, as I mentioned, like same thing in walking away from an accident, that conscience will be with you for the rest of your life. So I always challenge our team. It's about self-governing, being disciplined about it. I understand, and I compliment our previous board and previous CEO. We went into partnership with the UN and FICAC. I think we went into a campaign of an anti-corruption campaign. But as a reminder, and there was a nationwide workshop with our team, particularly those who are dealing with our customers face to face. So, but you can train people so much, but if the heart is not set in the right place, and that is being reminded of people's integrity, I think people take that so lightly these days, that your integrity is everything you have.
If someone wanted to report corruption, what mechanisms are there, and what action does LTA take against corrupt officers?
As I mentioned earlier, it's the allegations, the accusations. There are channels within our organization that people can send in their report, but people will have to again think about making sure that it is factual, that they've experienced it themselves, or they were put under duress to conform to if there were demands, and be prepared, because we take it seriously, because the allegations will be taken. We have our process with our human resources team and our legal team to make sure it's taken right through and investigated. Whatever the outcome, it affects people's lives, and behind someone who's been accused, rightfully or wrongfully, there are families behind that person. So, that. But to answer your question, there is a channel that I understand that there was a whistleblower concept, but for me personally, I don't conform to that system. I think it creates distrust, and I believe in our team. I believe that they give it their best shot. Yes, there may be times of temptation, but during our time, I'll be reminding them, remember your integrity.
If caught though, FICAC, police, is that the normal? Say it's proven in that unfortunate situation, then is FICAC the first one you go to, or is it it's FICAC?
Depending on the level, on the seriousness and the level of the allegation, I think we, as a board, as the LTA, we take it up to a point within our internal process, and then depending on the severity of the allegation or the case at that point, then there are government agencies that we have to then pass it on to, and let the process take its course.
If you're thinking of being corrupt at LTA, think twice. After the break, we look at James Sawane, the man. Welcome back. Chair, you've been in the role for 3 months now as the LTA board chair. What drove the decision for you to accept this position?
Thank you, Anil. I have to say, first and foremost, it's a real honor to be appointed onto the board of LTA. It's a sincere honor. And again, as I mentioned earlier, so privileged to be serving with an amazing group of directors, qualified, successful in their own right and in their own field, and together we believe, and thank our ministers who have appointed us to the position in believing in us. So together, I hope in the 3-year term that we've been appointed, that we will make a change, we will make a difference. On being asked to come onto the board, and more so to take on the role of chair, I was very nervous, but I've always stated that during this time, or when the past 18 months, when we had been in hibernation, our businesses had been in hibernation, I've always said that this is the time. This is the time we give back to our country. Let's stop being on the grandstand. Let's stop being on the sideline. Let's come in. And when the opportunity, the invitation was came our way and came my way, I came on with that spirit of giving back to my country. So I've got 22 years of transport and of course tourism experience in business, and it is a time. There's a time in your life that you want to give back. You want to make changes, positive changes. So that really has been the driving force. Fortunately, with LTA, I had been a customer for over 22 years and still am a customer, and I always declare my interest when we talk about certain policies relating to the tourism industry. But as I mentioned earlier, my integrity, I believe, will always drive me to ensure that what I do and my service is for the benefit of the nation, of specific industries that we serve. And this is the time. And I encourage all Fijians who are given an opportunity to serve on boards to, come on to the field, come on to rebuild our country. There's amazing skills out there in Fiji. Some people just prefer to be on the sideline and not, I think there's always a common comment of, I don't want to be in the spotlight because I'll be criticized, and we'll always be criticized. My father always said that when you are not criticized, that means you're not doing any work. So,
that's very true.
So let's get on. We've got a lot of work to be done for Fiji, and in particular for LTA, we've got some exciting work. As I mentioned, we've got our automation project. We've got a 3-year timeline to deliver that for our customers. So asking our customers, give us time. We will hopefully, with the grace of God, we will deliver. And as I said, we've got a very qualified board and experienced, committed management team. And the staff are just, the 419 staff of LTA, I can't say enough about them.
Absolutely. Now, 22 years of experience in transport and tourism, that's a long time. How do you think the experiences you've had in these 22 years has readied you for this role, has readied you to protect Fijian lives on the road, so to speak?
In tourism, for us, it's all about customer service. It's all about not only customer service, but consistent service. Tourism, our businesses, whether it's a hotel, airline, or transport operator like ours, our business is 24/7. There's Monday to Monday. There's no in between. So there's 7 days in the week, and they're all Mondays. That's just how we operate. And in doing that, so the key point is being consistent. You cannot be good one day and slacken off the next day. So consistency in customer service is something that I believe, hopefully that discipline I'll be able to share. The other aspect, Arnold, is tourism. We are playing and competing at an international level. And it's about standards. It's about professionalism, and it's about putting your best foot forward at all times. So, and that relates to, for us as a land transport authority, we have 299,000 customers, all from different walks of life, all from different industries. We need to front up each and every day with our best foot forward. And that's the discipline that I hope, I'll be able to share and bring on to the table. And as I said earlier, it's consistency, standards. It's so critical for us. I mentioned earlier about listening to our customers, being humble, listening to our customers. Some feedback will not be the feedback you want to hear, but they are the feedback that makes you better. So if we can apply all of these discipline and values, and again, integrity is key component here, I think we'll be able to make some good changes.
Any final message for your customers, for Fijians in general, and all stakeholders, I think, because road safety is everybody's business?
It is very important to know for all our fellow motorists that each time you are behind a wheel or behind the controls of a machine, you are in control of a lethal weapon. This is the term that I use in our driver training, that you are in control of a lethal weapon. And the decisions you make can impact a life or lives, as I mentioned. So that is so critical. Sometimes when we get behind the wheel, we forget that there are lives beside us and lives behind us and lives coming toward, you're passing on the road, multiple lives. So we have to be very aware. And at any instant, you can create a situation that is lifelong impact in terms of a social cost, that is being an accident. So please remember that's a lethal weapon that you are controlling, and it's in your hands to make a good decision. So I think, if anything, that's my key message. Make the right choice. Another word that we use in our driver training, Arnold, is when we are confronted on the road with different acts of stupidity or road stunts, from whether it be careless drivers or rude drivers, if I can use the word, we always remind our professional drivers. We refer to our drivers in our business professional drivers. After the rigorous training they go through, we give them the honor of being called a professional driver. And we always say to them, always be the bigger person. Always be the bigger person. Let the person pass. It does not matter. You will all get to the same destination. And but don't react, because it does not create a good situation. Because when you react, your mind is then engaged in trying to outdo that other driver. When you forget about the other lives beside you, behind you, and those are coming the other vehicle. So I think it's very important.
Don't street race.
Don't do that. There's no room for that. I think that's very important. It's also important for your viewers to understand that LTA is not just an agency that just deals in licensing. We are also tasked with enforcement. We also tasked with road safety. We're also tasked with regulation. So there's a multifaceted of operation that we are responsible for, the 419 hardworking staff. So that's something that the public do not understand. It's not just all about traffic infringement notices. So that's from the LTA. We're very excited, and we look forward to the support of the public. And I suppose if there's any final word, it's just we honor, and LTA is doing its part in honoring Pinktober, the Pinktober month, and all those that endure and have suffered and have lost the battle to breast cancer. So thank you.
That's all we have time for tonight. We thank LTA Board Chair James Soane again for joining us on this show, and we hope sincerely that everybody has learned a little bit about road safety and, of course, the functions of LTA. Until next week, good evening and take care.